Hey guys, Akil Stokes here. Welcome back to another episode of the Trading Coach Podcast. Today we're going to answer the question from a trader who asked, is it better to trade more pairs or more strategies? We're going to discuss that and map out the route that I think all new traders should take. By the way, if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just YouTube search Akil Stokes. I do a live stream Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7:30 a.m. New York time, where I walk you through the top trading idea on my radar for the day ahead. So join the discussion, join the fun. YouTube search Akil Stokes. Hit that subscribe button. Real quick, another question from Gilbert says, from your perspective, is it better to trade fewer pairs or trade fewer patterns? So fewer trades, fewer pairs, or fewer strategies? Real quick before we dig into the euro dollar. Live room members, what would you say to that question? Is it better to trade, from your perspective, is it better to trade fewer pairs or fewer strategies? So our live roomers are saying, depends on what you've tested. Spoken like a true coach. Percy says fewer strategies. Jagger says fewer strategies at first. Orsi says fewer strategies. Chris says fewer strategies. I'm going to say, yeah. So there is a balance that you can have, right? And I'm sure there's a formula you can actually use to calculate how much you're looking at, right? Between Trading View as well says fewer strategies. Yeah. Between strategies and pairs, right? Now, we can look at this from a few different perspectives. So if you are a newer trader, I think we can all agree. If you are a newer trader, is it better to start off with one strategy or 15 strategies? If you are a brand new trader, fresh off the bus, is it better to start with one strategy or 15 strategies? I think we'd all agree one strategy, right? My philosophy and my mentor taught me this. Start with one strategy. And this is how I progressed in my trading career. You start with one strategy. You do all the stuff and learning and backtesting and all that fun stuff, right? You master that strategy. And then here's the secret, right? This is like the key of investment, right? If you ever read the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, there is a great line. And this is before cancel culture. He'd probably get canceled today. But he said, make your money your slave, right? And that's not in any type of negative connotation or anything like that. But it means that your money should work for you, right? That's the whole thing of investing, right? Investing is putting your money in a position where it works for you, where it can make money when you're not working. You literally make money in your sleep, right? That is the definition of investing, right? It's a shame we have to be sensitive with stuff like that these days. I mean, obviously I can get away with saying it, but I can imagine someone getting yelled at for saying, oh, slave, and making it racist. And it's not racist at all, but 2021, 2022, everything becomes offensive, right? But make your money your slave. So you can think of your strategy as the same way, right? And this is how I progressed in my trading career. I started, after the horrible bad periods, right? The dark ages of Akil trading. This is when I first got on the right track. I started with a single strategy. Once I was good and comfortable, proficient with that strategy, once it started making money, and your experienced traders will tell you this, you essentially start running on autopilot. Am I correct in saying that, guys? Like once you're in that zone, it's like it's boring. It's like, looking, here it goes, there's setup, order. Okay, what do I do now? And you're like twiddling your thumbs for like the rest of the day, right? So once you've mastered that strategy, once you become really efficient with trading it, right? It no longer takes the same amount of energy and time investment. So you have all this new open time. So what do you do with that open time? You can do whatever the hell you want, right? Time freedom. But for many of us, we start digging into the next thing. So if Raymond is trading patterns, once he's mastered patterns, he's like, okay, master patterns, I can identify them, order set, boom. What do I do now? All right, let me start learning about trend continuation trading. So then he uses that free time to learn about trend continuation trading, learn strategy development, back testing, and then add another one. So I would advise doing that. Start with one strategy and then slowly build your strategies from there. Now, as a brand new trader. Now, going back to the original question, is it better to trade more strategies, more pairs? It doesn't really matter. I do believe in diversification in the markets, just from my personal experience, that I think you should. You're going to be better suited to have long-term success if you have different ways to attack different market conditions. I wouldn't have said this when I first started trading, but being in the game for 15 years, I've learned that lesson that market conditions do change and you do need different ways to attack it. But you want to find that balance, and this is the balance I would say, right? So if you're only trading one strategy, you can afford to trade that one strategy on 15 different pairs. So many of you guys know Darren. Maybe if you're watching on TradingView or YouTube, you don't. So Darren, good friend of mine, one of the co-founders of Tier 1 Trading here, he is the one that invented the cipher pattern. Not invented. He discovered the cipher pattern. And he would get offended if I said invented, because he didn't invent it. People that say they invented harmonic patterns or anything, it's dumb, right? It was there, right? So he founded the cipher pattern, right? So because Darren's ego is insanely big, he said, I'm only going to trade the cipher pattern and nothing else because this is my baby. So because he only traded one thing, what he did was he looked for it across a 20 pair portfolio. So he was looking at one thing across 20 pairs, right? So you can definitely do that with your strategy. You can take one strategy and then open up the amount of pairs that you watch it on. If you're going to trade more, and on the other hand, we have another trader, Stuart, who only trades the pound dollar, right? So he trades one pair, but he's got about 3, 4, 5 different ways to trade that one pair, right? So you guys see the theme there, right? If you're trading one thing, you can do it on more. If you're trading more strategies, you should look to do it on less. And then, of course, there's that middle ground where you can trade like, hey, a couple strategies on this many pairs. Does that make sense? I forgot who asked the question. I think it was Gilbert. Does that make sense, Gilbert? As always, we take the very long way to get to your question. But the story getting there is the most important part. Another question said, where do you start, though? How do you find interesting pairs, TradingView screener? No, you start with learning how to trade. You start with learning how to trade. You start with finding a strategy. You start with finding or developing a strategy, whatever you want to do, refining it, back testing it. Once you back test it, you'll see exactly what pairs work the best, right? You'll have a handful of information and data. That data will tell you what pairs are the best, what pairs are okay, what pairs are crap. And then you develop a trading portfolio from those pairs. So it's not about, you don't use a screener or anything like that. You look at the hard figures, the data, which will tell you which pairs, which markets historically work best with your trading style. And then, of course, you develop that portfolio. You take risk into account if you want to take correlations, all that fun stuff. But you have a constant and consistent portfolio of pairs and markets that you're looking at each day. And then the only screener you're doing is a kind of a personal screener. You're screening by doing analysis with your eyes and looking for your opportunities. So if you're trading less strategies, you can trade more pairs. If you're trading more strategies, you should trade less pairs. Or you can be like me. I trade a handful of different, I don't like calling them strategy, but techniques, but I'd only do so on a 9-pair portfolio. So it's that middle comfortable ground for me. Good question. So euro dollar, going back to the muck, right? Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you're interested in learning more about trading, make sure you head over to our website, www.tier1trading.com. We got some free workshops and webinars over there as well. We also have the 14-day risk-free trial membership. You can hop on the platform, hop in some live rooms, hop in an accountability session, introduce yourself to the chat, take some training courses, download some software, and a lot more stuff. www.tier1trading.com. See you there.